Telos Alliance presents Spotlight on Axia Quasar. Quasar AutoMix. Let's turn our attention to a different feature, and that's something that we call AutoMix. And I got to tell you, I've been a whole career in radio, and never have I had AutoMix. I've done some, if not talk shows, I've certainly had interviewees in the studio with me. Tell me how AutoMix might get used to make my radio life better.
So AutoMix probably can do a better job of mixing multiple sources than you can. Certainly it can react faster, right? How did we run a radio station previously? We had everybody's microphone turned up. Maybe there was some music in the background. And if somebody talks really loudly or outbursts, you can't respond quick enough to catch that and maybe move that down. Where AutoMix, we can do that. And it's relative to the other sources. So if I have 5 people talking on the microphones, I might want to give, well, let's take it even further than that. Let's say it's election night. And I have several people in the studio. I have several people out on codecs, people on telephones at the courthouses and things like that. But I want to be able to set a priority, if you will, to certain sources. I'm the host. My microphone is more important. What I say is more important. Just ask me. Than maybe what you say. So I might give my microphone more weighting, WEIGHT, right? I might give it more weighting than I would give you, and that I would give other sources, codecs, things like that, maybe less important sources. And not only does that weighting control who gets priority, but it also controls the amount of gain reduction that that's applied to the other sources. So let's just, for argument, use a scale of 1 to 10, right? 10 being the highest priority, 1 being the lowest. If I'm a 10 and you're a 5, you're going to get about half as much gain reduction as somebody who's, say, a 1. So if I talk over a source that's a 1, that 1's going to be almost fully diminished, right? I mean, it's going to be fully attenuated, where you're a little higher priority, you might not be attenuated more. And you can adjust all of those on the fly right from the console. So if you get it in there and you say, hey, this guy, I don't like what he's saying, he's not a good contributor, I might lower his AutoMix priority. There is an AutoMix button right on the XR fader. So if you're going to use the AutoMix feature and you want to turn it on and off, there's a button you can just tap and turn on AutoMix on a particular feature. So if somebody is joining your session or joining your broadcast and you all of a sudden decide, hey, I need to have them contribute to AutoMix, I just tap the AutoMix button on, and then I can adjust their priority to control how much attenuation is happening on AutoMix. It's very good if you have multiple people in a room, even on, let's say you're bringing sources in on a remote, and maybe it's a soccer game. Soccer games can be very raucous, right? So you'll have a couple of announcers, and maybe one of those microphones, maybe there's a third microphone that's just crowd noise. And you want to be able to auto mix in some of the crowd noise. When I stop talking, that's the opportunity to bring up the crowd noise a little bit. But when I talk again, I need to make sure that the crowd noise doesn't over prioritize the people that are calling the game. So lots of applications in music stations. Some particular music formats, if you listen to them, you'll hear them when they stop talking. They'll automatically ramp the music faders up. So they'll be speaking. Music up, music down, music up, music down. In other words, the music comes up very dramatically during the pauses in the speech.
Yeah.
Right. So certain formats, typically you hear this in Hispanic or Spanish music formats, right, where the music comes up when the announcer stops talking, and you can actually have the console do that for you automatically. So you just stop talking, pause. The music is quickly attenuated up, and when you stop talking, it start talking again, it automatically comes down. So it's an interesting application that AutoMix was probably never designed for, but it's one of the functions that it can do.
So if you're a disc jockey on one of those formats where every time you talk, you turn the music down a little bit, if that's done for me, what am I going to do with my hands the whole time? Because normally they'd be busy on the faders.
Yeah. They would be busy on the faders. I don't know. Maybe enjoy more coffee.
Well, there you go.
Do whatever you want.
Spotlight on Axia Quasar. Quasar AutoMix.